and welcome to another amazing episode of Uncommon Conversations. I'm your host, Jaja C. Hubbard. You already know I have another amazing episode for you today. Listen, I have a young lady who has graced the runway. This former model is now gracing your businesses and your homes with her creative talent. Listen, you may know her in the streets of Detroit and throughout the state of Texas as Lady J the Painter, but I know her as Janaya Rogers. Help me welcome my new guest, Miss Janaya Rogers, aka Lady J the Painter.
Hey, how is everyone doing?
Now, Janaya, you were born and raised in the city of Detroit. And like most people, including myself, we thought that you were from Texas. Now, Janaya, you have traveled far and wide. Can you tell me what was it like transitioning from the city of Detroit all the way to Texas and then now back in Detroit? Tell me what were some of the differences that you saw?
Well, I got to start off by saying, yes, I am from Detroit, but not just from Detroit, but from the east side of Detroit. A lot of people try to throw shade to the east side, but I'm telling you, people from the east side is like a whole different type of breed of people. The hustle is different. The grind is different from the people that is from the east side because we're going to go hard. So, yes, I was born and raised on the east side of Detroit. Um, it was let's say I'm a 70s baby. I'm be honest, I am 43 years old. I am proud of my age. I don't look my age. I don't think I look my age. But I was born and raised on the east side of Detroit. It was a good neighborhood. A lot of people think the east side is ghetto and the projects and stuff like that. No, not like there's some ghetto and some projects on the west side. There's some on the east side, but the east side is a real good place to grow up in the time that I grew up in. It helped me get prepared for life. I lived on the east side, then I moved to the west side, and then ultimately I moved to Fort Worth, Texas, the Dallas Fort Worth, Texas area. And me moving from Detroit to Texas is like something totally different. It's like, wow, like Detroit, how can I say it? It's more types of culture, if I want to say that, of people in Texas. Detroit, we have a variety of people, but like Texas is like on a whole nother level. So what I learned here, I took there, and what I got in Texas, I just kind of mashed it all up together, and it made me, voila, Lady J the Painter.
Now, learning all of that, growing up and being a biracial woman and so many other, youth and children around the world that are also biracial, knowing that you have a family that you kind of know, then another family that you kind of don't know, two different ethnicities. Tell me about that experience as a biracial woman.
Well, I was adopted. I was given away by my mother when I was a child. So I was in the foster care system for a while, and then I was ultimately adopted into uh, a family. My adopted mother's name was Annabelle Rogers. That's how my name is Janaya Rogers, but my birth name is Janaya Pafumi, which is Italian. My mother was Italian and my father is Black. So I was in a foster home, like I said, and there were various of children coming in and out, children that were in abusive situations and things like that. And so they needed a place to come at night, or sometimes they were there for years or weeks or months. And I was the only one that was adopted. So I kind of was, raised to cook, clean, paint, cut grass, gardening, and everything like that. So me growing up in an adoptive home by elderly lady, she prepared me in how to kind of like stand on my own. So I'm able to do, if I want to cook, I can cook. If I definitely can clean, I can do lawn services, I can do gardening, all of these things I was raised to learn as a child on up till the age that I ran away from home. into a different family or what have you. So from that to the next family, there were a lot of things that I learned in between. All I knew from my adopted family, they didn't speak very highly of my mother, and some of the paperwork that I got about my mother, wasn't all that great or whatever. So I had one, I mean, you don't understand how can a mother or father have a child and they not want their child. So I didn't understand that. And it was kind of hard too. Also, with my adoptive mother being an elderly lady, that was difficult as well. So it was a lot of confusion, misunderstanding. And there was some abusive situations that happened, in my family. Jealousy. I got picked on a lot because as I was younger, I had longer hair. But if you look at me now, I mean, my hair. So I got picked on a lot about my hair, my clothing, because I didn't have like the name brand clothings and things like that. And so I got picked on a lot, like, oh, you light skin, you think you pretty, that type of thing or whatever. So it was kind of hard because it's like I had this elderly lady that I knew was not my mama. And then I got picked on because I was light skinned and all of that. And then I knew I had a family, but to never fully understand as a child why my mother didn't want me, it just was, always some difficult moments growing up. It wasn't always easy.
Janaea, I love that. I love the fact that, your story is so heroic. I love that you continue to give to people, even though you've gone through things and you've been through things, and you continue to give back to your community. You do community service, you do pro bono work, you've even partnered with me on some of my business ventures, and you continue to support entrepreneurs and other people in their businesses. And I want to know, Janelle, what is the driving force behind why you do the great things that you do for other people, knowing that bad things have happened to you and people have caused them?
There were things and situations in my life that I had no control over. And I believe those situations and things prepared me to be who I am. I was raised in church or what have you. Started off in the Kojic church per se. And they did, certain things helping people, whatever. But I think it all came from my adopted mother. She was an elderly lady, but a lot of people would come to her house for help and different things. And then, with the different foster kids coming in, I think that's where it really started. One, with her being an elderly person, and then two, all these different kids coming in and out and being abandoned and being rejected and being abused and everything like that. I seen those things and I was there, helping. And even though I was a child, it was like I almost was an adult at the same time because I had to make sure they were bathed or had food and different things like that. So it's just in me. So as I've gotten older, I have a love for elderly people and I have a love for children, teenagers and everything because me growing up, I didn't have that, so it was like in my mind, I want to be able to give people something that I was not able to get or to receive in growing up. So when I do things, I do it because I don't like seeing people hurt. Like that hurts me. To see people hurt, that hurts me. I don't want to see elderly people overlooked or abused or children abused or any of those things. So, when I do things, I think about what I went through and how it made me feel. And so I want to try to, in some way, to alleviate that pain or that hurt that someone else, may have to go through. If I can help them not go through it, that's what I want to do.
And that's so honorable, Janaea. That's extremely beautiful. And there's so many people who have experienced death, within this past year, dealing with COVID-19 and the pandemic. And a lot of people were suffering from loss and dealing with grief. And, unfortunately, like you and I, we lost our brothers prior to the pandemic. And you experienced loss when your brother lost his life in the state of Texas. Can you tell the viewers and people about dealing with grief and how to cope with grief and overcoming that? Because a lot of people have the tendency to want you to rush through your grief. What are some ways and some things that people can work on to help with dealing with their grief during this time?
Well, a lot of times when people go through grief, the biggest thing is people like, it's gonna be all right, just toughen up, that type of thing. A lot of times we try to push people to get past their pain, quicker than they need to. We have to allow people to have their grieving process. If that's you crying, allow a person to cry, allow a person to vent, to express how they feel. It's kind of cruel and mean to kind of shut a person down, and I believe a lot of that comes from, and I'm not trying to step on their toes, is religion. Is that we tell people, oh, be strong, God is this and God's going to do that and all these different things or whatever, and yes, God is going to do those things, but in the same time you still have to process your pain the best way you know how. And if you're a friend, if you're a family member, being there, you not talking or saying anything, just being there, making yourself available to listen, just to be there, even just go and say, hey, let's go get something to eat, or let's sit down and watch TV. During those times people feel alone because they lost someone they truly love, and they don't know how to process it. It becomes mean and cruel to tell people like, it's okay, everything will be all right. Or you say like God took them, and, God needed them more than, we needed them. Like, stop saying stuff like that. Like, have a little bit more compassion and, understanding that everyone grieves differently. Be there. Don't necessarily force yourself there, but be there. Be a listening ear. Be kind words. Just make yourself present. It will help a whole lot.
And speaking of making yourself present and creating that support system, Janaea, you are in a career field in an industry that is predominantly driven by men. And as they say, it's a man's world. Well, you have definitely made it a woman's world now, because when we think about carpentry and sanding and hammering, we don't think of a woman, and you have inspired women all around the world. And, because when you think home improvement, when we call to get something done, we're thinking of a mail company, or someone comes and shows up at the door that is, a man. And so now you are just shattering stereotypes and breaking down glass ceilings and doors that have been placed in front of us as women. And you are now doing some really great things with your company. Now, tell me, Lady J, how did it all get started, and where do you see it going for the future?
Well, to be honest with you, this is the true story of how I got into painting. Well, when I was younger, of course, I learned about painting, with my adopted mother or whatever. But there was this guy that I liked. He and his father used to chase fires, like when people's homes would catch on fire and stuff like that. They were looking for a painter. So me liking him, I'm like, okay, well, I can paint. Okay, I could just go and roll a little paint on the wall, but I wasn't a painter. So nevertheless, he hired me, gave me the job as a painter, and I used to tape off everything, like the sides, the ceilings, all of that. And he was like, Janaea, if you're gonna be a painter, you cannot use tape. Like, painters don't use tape. And I'm like, okay. So I just kept going. So one day I was on a job, bought all the material. He came and took the tape from me. So it pushed me into being able to cut and separate the ceiling from the walls if there was multiple colors and things like that. So it forced me into actually becoming a painter, as opposed to saying I am a painter. There's a difference, excuse me, there's a difference in saying you are something and you actually are. Like, you know, it forced me into really becoming a painter. And I did it for a long time. And then I moved to Texas. I did it some there. But what happened was, when living in Texas, I got hurt on the job or whatever, and I ended up moving back to Michigan. And I said I didn't want to work for no one. So I was sending out messages to different people that I knew that painted. And there was one particular guy that I said, I can paint. Can I please come for you? Because he was like a popular guy. People know he's still popular to this day. And I was like, can I please come and paint with you or what have you? And I sent him pictures of my work. He said, well, I don't have room for no painter, but you can come and, answer the phone and you can get clients and stuff like that. I was like, what? Are you serious? I really can paint. And he just looked at me like, oh, yeah, okay, you say you can paint, but you pretty, so you can get some people. That was his mindset. And I was like, no, that's not what I want to do. So there was this one guy, his name is Curtis Johnson. I told him, he goes to my church, Greater Emmanuel. Shout out to Bishop J. Drew Shear, Lady Karen Clark Shear, got to give that plug. He was like, you can paint. I said, yeah. He said, okay, well, I got this house. I need you to come over here and do it. I went over there. I painted this wall, painted another wall. He was like, you really can paint. And he was like, well, I need you to paint this stairway. I need you to do this. I said, okay. So he paid me. He said, I'm going to give you a job. He's like, any houses and things like that I get, I'm going to start, giving it to you, whatever. So my name is Janaea. And so I'm painting or whatever. And just one day I just started saying, I'm Lady J the painter. So I'm a lady. My name is Janaea and I'm a painter. To Lady J the painter. And this was back in 2014, 15 or something like that. I just started calling myself Lady J the painter. And I was not doing the stripes, the designs, any of those things. It was just like came to me like that one day and I was just able to do it. I've never taken a class. I've never had training of any kind. It just kind of just like comes to me. And it just goes. It's just weird. I don't even know how it happened. It still blows my mind to this day.
Well, you know what, Lady J, I'm definitely honored because you are definitely doing some really, really great things. And I tell every guest on my show that this is the year of the woman, and you are definitely proving me right because at the end of the day, there are so many women that are fearful about stepping into certain careers. And I want to know, Lady J, what advice would you give to other women to press that envelope, to not be fearful, to take the stereotypes off and to take off, all of the things that have been placed on us as women and what we can accomplish? What advice would you give to women that are looking to press the envelope in their careers?
Well, the thing is this, you have to know who you are. And even today, I'm still learning myself and my abilities. And you have to not allow fear to grip you because fear is your biggest thing that will grip you and keep you from moving forward. You have to really dig down. If it's something that you really, 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 really want to do, you cannot share it with everyone because everybody is not going to understand and everybody's not going to agree because it's not for everyone to understand or agree. So if this is something that you really, really want to do, you have to drown out everybody around you and you have to center in and focus on whatever it is that you want to do. And you have to see yourself doing it. The more you see yourself doing it, the more you become confident at it. And then you just step out and you do it. And when you step out on faith and when you step out on your purpose, it's like things will begin to happen. People will begin to come from the north, the south, the east, and the west. It will be all kinds of things coming when you begin to say, you know what? This is a little scary for me, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Sometimes it just takes us to do this one little step. And when we take that one little step, like a baby, when it first start walking, they take that one little step, is wobbling, and it might seem next little step, you get a little more sure about it. Then next thing you know, it's going just like this. But all you got to do is take that first step. It might be wobbly. You might be scared. You might have people telling you not to do it. But if you know that's something that you're supposed to do, something that you really want to do it. Do not let anyone nor yourself tell you what you can or cannot do.
And that's on period in the words of Lady J. Now, Lady J, in your field of expertise, what do you hope to see in the near future, 5 to 10 years from now in your particular industry, in your particular field, when it comes to carpentry, when it comes to skilled trade and painting and plumbing, where women aren't dominant in those particular fields? Where do you see that industry going in the next few fleeting years?
I see it growing more because I'm seeing and learning. Like there are women that message me and say, "Hey, Lady J, are you going to do any classes on painting? Or can you do this? Can you do that?" I believe that women are now becoming more confident and saying, "You know what? They say this is a man's field, but who said this? Who made these rules up that only a woman should or should not do this, or a woman can or cannot do this? Who came up with these rules?" And I believe now women are like, you know what? Bump these rules that people are telling me, bump these boxes y'all putting me in. I'm going to step out this box and I'm going to do it. So I see more women coming forward doing construction. There are a few women in Detroit that lady contractor. I follow her on Instagram. She does contract like construction type work, flipping homes and things like that. There's a that are out there that are really like doing it. So I just see it like growing and expanding because women are not just sitting back and just sitting in the house no more. Women are really stepping out. So next 5 years, I see a lot of big construction companies being ran and owned by women and Black women at that too.
Now, speaking of sitting in the house, something we all had to do, a lot of our lives have been changed and transformed from the pandemic. How has the pandemic affected you personally, and how has it affected your business?
Well, if I can be honest, let me start with my business. It didn't affect my business. It boosted my business. Um, I didn't sit down, but maybe a couple of weeks or a week, but it was really by choice because the clients that I have, I do like commercial buildings. So there's no one normally in the building. So I'll get to go in there and work and things like that. The only difference it kind of made was I wasn't so safe as far as going into people's homes and doing works, and people weren't so comfortable with that, but it was like the commercial side just like went up. So I was doing exterior more. I was doing the commercial and everything, commercial buildings, or the interior of commercial buildings. So it like boosted it. I lost some people that I knew during the pandemic. It just kind of made me look at life a little bit differently because you can be here today. We already know you can be here today and gone today, but literally, people that were healthy, people that were fine, contracted it and they passed. So it made me look at life even more to, appreciate it more, to value it more, and to value and appreciate the people in there. Like, we don't have time to be beefed out with people. We don't have time to be arguing with people because, again, I can get it, you can get it, they can get it, anybody can get it. And we're holding on to petty beefs and all of these different things. And we may not ever have that moment to say, I'm sorry, or I loved you because of something petty. So it made me appreciate life and the people in it a little bit more.
Now, Lady J, speaking of appreciating life and wanting a little bit more, listen, every time I have a guest on the show, I like to play a little game. It's called the Survival Kit. Are you down to play?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, bet. So listen, I'm going to name 3 items. You get to use one, you lose one, and you give one away. Okay? Use one, lose one, give one away. I'm going to name 3 items, and you pick which ones you want to use, lose, and give away. You ready? All right. Bet. First round, a pair of gloves, a jacket, a sub sandwich. You use one, you lose one, and you give one away.
I'm going to use the jacket. I'm going to give the sandwich away. And I'm going to lose the glove.
Second round. All right. A pair of red bottoms, a cup, a bouquet of flowers. And say it again. You use one, you lose one, and you give one away. A pair of red bottoms, a cup, a bouquet of flowers. Use one, lose one, give one away.
I'm gonna give the flowers away. I'm gonna keep the cup, and I'm gonna lose the red bottom.
Third round, a paintbrush, a candlestick, a lipstick. Paintbrush, candlestick, lipstick.
I'm gonna keep the paintbrush. I'm gonna give the candlestick away, and I'm gonna lose the lipstick.
Well, thank you so much for playing the survival kit game with me. Listen, before you leave, because I know we're having such a great time, what do you want to leave with our viewers about the future of Lady J making a pop across Michigan? And what do you see for the future of that particular industry and your business?
Well, for Lady J the Painter, I'm just expanding. We're doing props. We're doing epoxy floors and countertops. We're looking to begin flipping homes and things like that. Also launching other businesses. I look to be on TV, to share what I have, the gifts, to inspire other people, motivate other people. I understand that pain is just a stepping stone, the door opener to, greater things. And those things is helping other people to be able to put other people in a position to be able to feed their families and to give life to their dreams. So I just see the business growing and expanding, and having the right team with me where I can travel and, talk to people and help motivate people into stepping out and, giving life to their dreams. So I just see it popping more and more. You can find me on all social media platforms. That's Lady J the Painter. That's on Facebook. That is on Instagram. I also have a website, www.ladyjthepainter.com. If you want to get in contact with me, you can call or you can text 313-942-1922, or you can email at info@ladyjthepainter.com.
Now, that was the power of a conversation. I truly hope you enjoyed the show today. I want to thank my very, very special guest, my homegirl, my sis, my friend. Listen, Janea Rogers, aka Lady J the Painter, always making it pop. Let's make sure that we get out here and support her Black woman-owned business. And listen, I hope you enjoyed the show today. I want to hear from you. Listen, write to me, P.O. Box 27866, Detroit, Michigan, 48227. And if you don't want to write to me, just slide in my DMs, at Jaja C. Hubbard on all social media platforms. And if that's not good enough for you, go ahead and check us out at the web, www.jajachhubbard.com. And I look forward to hearing from you soon. Until next week, I'll see you again. Peace.